Hi, welcome back. My World 67. This is G-Man, and I'm here with this video. I'm going to be doing a little short video on the repainting and partial restoration of a Marx 6" 10 241708 B&O gondola. Now I've already taken it apart, and as you can see, the paint was pretty much already gone on it. It's rusted underneath. It is set in some water. It had rusted out, actually rusted out in these corners, had big holes in this corner, in this corner. We filled them in with some plumber's putty. Works great. Or you can use some 3-minute epoxy. Fill those holes in, sand them off. I just redid this one. I don't know if I can get a better focus on that. And I'm still a little rough. And redid it, reshaped it. And I've actually began sanding these down. I don't know if you can see that or not. 241708 B&O. Frame, had to do a little sanding on it. We just got done taking off all the loose paint. Some rust. And I might add, consequently, these sets on place. I had several of these cars that I had gotten from a antique shop, junk shop, and they had set somewhere in a garage or a barn, a shed, somewhere where there was a lot of moisture, and they just set, no doubt, in probably in an old box or a crate, and for a number of years untouched, probably for a decade or two. And they just really had a lot of rust under the paint. The paint was dissolving on the shell itself. And so anyway, like I say, rusted out in the corners where water had no doubt dripped on it and erosion took place. But we're going to recover this. We've already started, as I said. We've filled those in, sanded them down, got the paint off as best we can. We're going to primer it, both pieces, and repaint this one black. And I'm not sure whether we're going to do this body, this gondola body, in white or in another color. But bear with me as we go along. We're going to try to do this in a way that you can see the whole process. All right, here we go. Okay, here we go. Now we got the frame out and got it outside here. A lot of my painting I have to do outside. And all right, there's our first coat. On that, we're going to set it over here to dry. And we're going to get this gondola shell. And we decided to go with this sort of military green. That particular can wants to leak just a little bit. Hadn't used it for probably about a year. Okay, we're going to let that dry and we'll come back. Okay, while we're waiting on that paint to complete its drying, we're gonna take these wheels. They aren't too bad. I actually cleaned them up a little bit here a while back. I let them soak in vinegar, and these wheels were completely rusty, and that vinegar cleaned them up real well. And still got a little rust. Well, what we can do here, we're not going to worry about a little minor rust too much. But what we can do here is we've got about a 700 grit. It's actually almost like emery cloth, and it might even be 800. And we'll just kind of go over it a little bit, take off a little bit more of that rust. See how shiny it's getting. You don't have to be real shiny. Sometimes I like to get the wheels just really clean and shiny, especially when they're not pitted and they don't have a lot of tarnish. I like to get all that tarnish off of them. Over a period of time, they'll just, unless you're in a completely climate-controlled room, here where we are, the humidity is real high all the time, so we have to kind of be careful about with our trains how we handle the humidity and the moisture. in the air. Now see, some reason or another, this particular wheel still got a little track grid on it. Another way you can do these, takes a little effort, doesn't take really a whole lot of time, but you can take an eraser, an abrasive eraser. I keep several of them around. I even use them on my tracks once in a while. The only problem with the abrasive eraser is you've got to make sure you get all the rubber off of the tracks. Pretty sure you've got it all off before you run your drains. Some guys are using transmission fluid on their tracks to clean their tracks, and they're using transmission fluid for their wheels. I'm not a big transmission fluid fan. I tried it for a little section of track, and mostly all it did was pick it up and carry it to another section of track and made it oily on the O gauge trains. I didn't try it on the S gauge trains, and I don't have any HO in operation at present. We'll just clean those up. They're still kind of dirty. It's kind of unusual because usually vinegar just eats everything off that's on the wheels. These were really gunked up, and as I said, they were gunked up and rusty at the same time. This one looked like it's the worst one. And usually I let wheels and parts like that sit for 24 to 48 hours before I rinse them off and dry them down to use them. But these wheels, I didn't do that. This was just kind of a little last minute project that I decided to do. And they only sat for maybe 2-3 hours, so that's why they didn't get as clean. But no rust, hardly any at all. A little bit of tarnish. And they cleaned up nicely. These axles, same way. They were really rusty. Now there's no rust at all. Got a couple little dark spots, but there's no pitch. Okay. let's go check on our gondola shell in our frame. Okay, we're back. Here's that frame that we just painted. Came out real nice. It'll really need to dry overnight at least before it'll be really a good solid paint job. Now, I didn't bother to sand this or take this all the way down to bare metal. You might have noticed that. And the reason for that was that this other black paint that was on here, the original paint, wasn't loose. Now, that leaves somewhat a checker surface, and I could have even gotten rid of that. But this was, keep in mind, this was just an old junk gondola that I was just fixing up for operational purposes to make it look good again, to make it operable. And so it was not necessary for me to actually go through all the pains any more than I'd already taken for it as a restoration piece, because it hasn't not been restored. What it has been is renewed, and there is a difference. Here's that gondola shell, and we decided to go with the olive green. This is Italian olive, and I might point out also that the paints I'm using both have primer in them. And I know I mentioned earlier that I was going to prime it first, and then I looked at my two paints and I saw the black that I was going to use, and this particular olive green, this Italian olive, had primer in it and also a rust solvent. So it's going to help to keep that rust down. Shouldn't be any more rust on it for several years, unless of course it stands in water and gets wet again and just sits, and that's something that can't be helped over a period of time through oxidation. But as far as the usage of this now, it's good. We'll assemble it, put it back together, and we'll eventually letter it. I don't know if I'm going to letter it for military as I do. That was another reason why I went ahead and did it in the Italian olive, is because I realize I do need a gondola for my tin consist for my army train, my tin army train. So it's a possibility. I'll use this for that and label it U.S. Army. I won't put ordnance on it because it won't necessarily be an ordnance car, although I may carry some shells or something in it. It'll probably just be a U.S. Army car. And we'll give it a number, probably either 708 or 241 or 417, something like that, that consisted of the original Marx number for it. Now, all you have to do is assemble it. These tabs go right back in the slots that they came out of. Reassemble it. Fold the tabs over. Put the wheels on. And you have a finished, like new gondola. All right, that's all I have for you today. God bless. Thanks for watching. Please like this video or dislike this video, whichever you may wish. And you can push the subscribe button at the bottom below the screen. Thanks for watching.